Thank you, and also His Excellency CEO, our First Lady, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and also our Chief Security Advisor to be with us this morning. And with that, we will accompany you respectfully before we start our next session. Union, Japan, World Bank, Australia, Canada, Germany, and then civil society and Nordic countries. So far we received these requests, and this is the order that we will follow. Okay, with your permission, the challenges facing Afghanistan in the next 5 to 10 years mean business as usual on the budget is not an option. Our budget must be at the heart of our policies. It must set out our immediate and long-term development priorities, highlight key reforms, and outline priority investments. In the ANPDF that we have presented to you in Brussels, we set a goal for ourselves to have a consolidated national budget by 2019. 1 year ahead of schedule, as President said. Today, I'm pleased to tell you that we will have a consolidated national budget in 2018. This and our public financial management program, or the centerpieces of reforms, is headed by the new leadership team at the Ministry of Finance. For the first time, we will be able to show a complete and coherent picture of how our national resources are being invested for 2018 and for 3 years thereafter. This will mean that next year, anyone, not just experts, will be able to track our deliveries against the budget. To support that, we will be making changes to our accountancy capabilities. The accountancy law have been approved by the Cabinet and the lower house of our Parliament. Once it comes into effect, all accountants across the country will have 1 year to sit for exams and to be certified. We are supporting a new generation of accountants who meet international standards. Last month, Afghanistan achieved associated member status with the South Asian Federation of Accountants, which will also help raise standards. But we are not stopping here. The training plan for our auditors is in the pipeline. The combination of qualified accountants and auditors will create more transparency and help us identify sources of corruption. As we speak, my colleagues are in Baku negotiating with IMF for the extended credit facilities that we have signed with them, a 3-year program between us. So we are welcome to report to you that we have already met all the benchmarks, and we are expecting a good news in the coming days that IMF will release. I'm glad to report to you that the economic reforms spearheaded by the Ministry of Finance are working. Economic growth picked up from 1.3% in 2015 to positive growth to 2.5% for 2017, and raising gradually thereafter. The IMF is also predicting that inflation will average around 6%. Our Afghanization policies are paying off, as evidenced by a stable exchange rate. When the National Unity Government assumed responsibility, our revenues were in the red 99 billion AFs. Now they stand at 152 billion AFs. We exceeded the IMF June 2017 revenue target by 20%. By the end of the year, our revenue collection will be 70% higher than it was in 2014. I want to repeat that again, just on the record. By the end of this year, our revenue collection will be 70% higher than it was in 2014. The World Bank Revenue Matching Grant, with its rigorous verification process, is a testament to the excellent work my colleagues have done. In 2015, the matching grant amounted to 87 million. Last year, it went up to 119 million. And our World Bank colleagues here, they can verify that. We know that collecting taxes is not where our responsibility to our citizens stop. We must make our system more efficient, more transparent, and more accountable to our public. That's why the Large Taxpayer Office has introduced an electronic revenue collection system across the country to support the fight against corruption, in particularly bribery. We have also set up a taxpayer call center to receive complaints and suggestions. As important as a credible budget and a strong revenue base are, we know that they are not sufficient to bring about the real economic growth we need to help lift our people out of poverty. We must also get the conditions right for the private sector and improve the investment climate. This means providing our private sector with the resources and infrastructure they need to grow, create more jobs for our citizens, and make positive contributions to the economy. It means helping them access market to sell their products. Doing business indicators developed by our Ministry of Commerce and Industries is already approved by the Cabinet. Based on that, the Afghanistan Investment Supporting Agency has already integrated into the Ministry of Commerce. Our new membership at the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank will help us secure more resources for national infrastructure projects and enable our businesses to take part in AIIB tenders. Our first ever economic diplomacy guideline, or a blueprint for our embassies to help our private sector access international markets. We have simplified procedures for business visas, reduced the cost, extended the validity period up to 3 years. And we are making provision to visas upon arrival for legitimate businessmen and investors. What's more, we are in the process of finalizing the details of a discretionary tax holiday of up to 3 years for new and inward investment. We are developing our national infrastructure, building roads and power plants, not only to deliver valued services to our citizens, but also to make sure our private sector, especially small and medium enterprises, have what they need to prosper and succeed. The East-West corridor connecting central Afghanistan to the west of the country is moving forward, and work is underway to finish 2 sections of Qaisar-Laman, which are the missing link in our nationwide ring road. The High Economic Council has already approved the feasibility study for 4 public-private partnership projects, including the Kajaki Dam, electric dam, Mazar and Shibarghan gas electric, and Kandahar solar electric system. More than 100 PPP applications are in the pipeline. Across the country, we are building power stations to harness the sun and the wind to provide much-needed electricity not only to the thousands of householders, but also to hundreds of small and medium manufacturing plants. We are building cold storages so that hard-earned harvests don't go to waste before to reach market. Regional cooperation is one of the fifth pillar of our ANPDF. It will bring us closer and provide financial, socio-economic, political, security benefits for the entire region. Regional cooperation can provide a platform for our interests to converge, build confidence, and provide incentives for peace. The first air corridor with India is already making a significant contribution to an expected 60% increase in trade between our two countries. 400 tons of Afghan fruit have found their way to Indian markets since June. We are also in discussion with countries of Gulf Cooperation Council to establish a similar air corridor. The contract for La Paz-Lazuli corridor, which will connect Afghanistan to Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and on the Black Sea and Mediterranean, will sign soon. Chabahar port will give Afghanistan access to lucrative Middle East markets, facilitate trade, and help us develop market in Europe and beyond. CASA 1000 has gone from an idea to reality. In fact, we were the first to finish the procurement processes and ready to go. Turkmenistan has already constructed its section of TAPI, and we are on track with technical assistance so that we can begin work on our side of the border. Next month, President Ghali will launch the expansion line of the Khawaf-Herat railway with his Iranian counterpart. This line will carry 400 passengers a day and has an annual capacity for 2 million tons of cargo. A partnership between Afghanistan Telecom and China Telecom will begin the Silk Road fiber optic cable from China to Afghanistan through Wakhan corridor and connect the region to the Middle East and Europe. Our efforts are creating jobs to help our people lift themselves out of poverty and give our young people hope in the future here at home. Our public-private partnerships such as Barikop Economic Zone, which will house more than 1,000 industrial units, are already creating thousands of direct job and indirect opportunities. The Emergency Economic Recovery Plan for the capital will create income opportunities for women, build clinics, roads and schools, build low-cost housing and public transportation. It will create more than 17 million days of work for Afghan men and women over the next 2 years period. Jobs for Peace has already provided 500,000 families living in rural areas with livelihood with more than 2.6 million labor days. It's in the second phase of the program, and it will cover the remaining provinces and introduce labor-based cleanup program in Afghanistan, 5 largest cities. But all this will mean nothing if we don't make sure that our men and women and our young generation not feel the impact of our efforts. The Citizen Charters is now working in 78 districts and 4 cities in 32 provinces. It has sent 34 teachers to school across Afghanistan. Facilitating partners have been contracting, and by end of 2017, in other words, 87 days from today, the program will reach 2,500 communities. The Women Economic Empowerment Plan, which launched only 7 months ago, has already supported 87,000 women in agriculture activities and another 35,000 in livestock sector. It is recruiting 3,000 female teachers and training 900 community midwives and nurses who will return to serve their own communities in 2018. As highlighted by our First Lady yesterday, 50,000 women took part in 2017 university entrance exam, and 33% of freshmen in the coming academic year will be women. Before long, these young, talented and qualified women will take their places alongside their male peers in the job market and become productive members of society, contributing to the economy and to the future of our country. But we are not waiting until that day comes. Today in Afghanistan we have 257 female judges. That is 21% of all judges sitting on bench. 3,500 Afghan women proudly serve in our military and police forces. There are more women serving in our senior positions in the government than any time in our history. I can hear you telling me that this is not good enough. We know that we have to do more. That's why our Independent Civil Service Commission has a policy to increase participation of women in civil service by 2% in 2017 and also in 2018. The Ministry of Defense has earmarked 5,000 posts for women, and the Afghan National Army has established a 10% quota for women. Not only have we established elimination of violence against women units, but also a Deputy Attorney General for elimination of violence against women was created by a presidential decree. Our people continue to experience crimes against humanity at the hands of the insurgency. We are keen to add our voice in support of human rights and are hoping that Afghanistan will have a seat at Human Rights Council. I can tell you that Afghanistan's man in the council will be a woman. Asan Khidmat will be revolutionize the way the services will provide to our citizens. By the time it's fully rolled out, it will bring 48 services across 7 ministries under one roof. The 3 Kabul centers will be ready to the end of 2018 and will offer services including work permits and visa extensions for foreigners, issue passports, process pensions and offer tax services. But we are not waiting for centers to open. Asan Khidmat is already providing services in temporary accommodations at our Ministry of Labours, that they have already simplified the issuance of work permit and passports and visa extensions for foreign nationals. In your pack today, you would have seen the Afghanistan National Strategy for Combating Corruption. It is the roadmap to help us end the corruption. And this is a released an official document from today on. But we haven't been waiting for the strategy to finalize before we began our fight against corruption. Across the government and indeed across the country, we have been hard and worked to tackle corruption. The Afghanistan Extractive Industry Transparency Initiatives have published its 5th reconciliation report and has prepared a roadmap for reporting beneficial ownerships. Our senior officials have publicly declared their assets. M-PESA will streamline the payment of salaries to civil servants and put an end to ghost workers. The Supreme Court and Attorney General offices have been sending the corrupt to justice. The Attorney General has tried some 1,100 cases of corruption, 468 people have been jailed, and repayment and fines totaling more than 14 million have been ordered. As a result of prosecutions by the Attorney General Office through Anti-Corruption Justice Center, 31 individuals have been sentenced to a combined total of 209 years behind bars. In the Ministry of Finance alone, 5 staff members have been sentenced to prison for taking bribes, and we have referred some 35 cases for prosecution. Some 300 people have been fired or reassigned. Afghan citizens can track details of government contracts on National Procurement Authority website. To date, 77% contracts have been published. For the first time ever, land grabbing is a crime. 15,831 land criminals have been identified. 64,000 acres of illegally seized land have been reclaimed. In June 2017, Afghanistan was removed from the list of the countries perceived to be non-cooperative in global fight against money laundering and terrorist financing. This means that we can join the world's banking system. This great achievement is thanks to the hard work of my colleagues and, of course, our very able governor of the Afghanistan Bank and his team, who developed the legal and regulatory framework to crack down on banking crimes. This development is allowing us to bring our overseas revenues back to Afghanistan so that we can use them for the service of our people. Our efforts are being recognized. Afghanistan moved up 4 points in the 2016 Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, nearly double over 2013 score. But we must remember that Afghanistan is at the front line in the global war on terror. We are fighting 20 classified terrorist groups, which is already registered by UN. The past years has been a challenging year for us. We have endured persistent violence assaulted by terrorists, exacting a heavy toll on our people. In the years since the Brussels conference, under the leadership of President Ghani, we have been hard at work to deliver on our promises. You may have heard about our President, that it's not easy to work with and always challenges us to do better. He's a hard taskmaster who arrives at his desk in the early hours of morning and works in the late hours of the night. We must burn the midnight oil ourselves if we are to keep up with him. And I would be remiss if I don't say that these achievements are thanks in no small part to the hard work of my cabinet colleagues and across the government, many of them young, who with the energy of youth and eyes on the future are hard workers to make our vision a reality. Our achievements are a proof to their commitment to peace, prosperity and stability to our country, and our perseverance here today is a testament to their perseverance in the face of adversity. As we strive for self-reliance in Afghanistan, support from our international partners, including external grant financing, remains critical to achieve sustainable growth, eradicate poverty, and support the move forward fiscal sustainability and foster confidence in the economy. I would like to thank our partners who have brought all this support and they consider our priorities. We ask that you consider similar development partnership with that kind of flexibilities. The US-funded new development partnership, the state building contract from our EU partner, and also ARTF incentive program are great examples of how assistance and conditionality gives the government flexibility to respond effectively to our national priorities, and also they gave us confidence that we can bring more transparency and accountability. And now, before I give the floor to my esteemed colleague, the SRSG, I would like to thank each one of you for being here today, and I would like to pay tribute to all your men and women in service who served in our country, and also thank all your taxpayers for your generous support and your generous assistance. Thank you once again for being with us, and now I give the floor.